Trump gave a speech about Afghanistan. We're ramping up. It sounded like every speech every president ever gave about Afghanistan. Hey, we're good. But turns out, we only need about 4,000 or 5,000 more troops. We're going to fix everything. So this is great. Remember what Donald Trump used to say? This is what got him elected, stuff like this. He said, when will we stop wasting our money on rebuilding Afghanistan? We must rebuild our country first. That's from October 2011. Let's get out of Afghanistan. Our troops are being killed by the Afghanis we train, and we waste billions there. Nonsense. Rebuild the USA. Bam. That's from 2013. Why are we continuing to train these Afghanis who then shoot our soldiers in the back? Afghanistan is a complete waste. Time to come home. That's Donald Trump. Do not allow our very stupid leaders to sign a deal that keeps us in Afghanistan through 2024 with all the costs by the USA. Make America great. That's from 2013. We should leave Afghanistan immediately. No more wasted lives. If we have to go back in, we go in hard and quick. Rebuild the U.S. first. Here he is on Monday.
My original instinct was to pull out. And historically, I like following my instincts. But all my life, I've heard that decisions are much different when you sit behind the desk in the Oval Office. America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can wait us out. I will not say when we are going to attack, but attack we will. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. We can no longer be silent about Pakistan's safe havens for terrorist organizations, the Taliban, and other groups that pose a threat to the region and beyond. Pakistan has much to gain from partnering with our effort in Afghanistan.
So he flipped. He flipped 100%. And guess who's upset about it? Not the neoliberals. No, the neoliberals think it's a great idea. We need to put 4,000 more troops back in Afghanistan. We need to extend this war, keep it going. You know who's upset? His base. This is from Breitbart. Trump's America's First base unhappy with flip-flop Afghanistan speech.
You mean it's not presidential?
Yeah, so the Washington Post is calling him presidential because of that speech, whereas his base is not. In fact, because he's an America First guy, right? That's his whole thing, was rebuild America first. And now, remember, that's what he says, rebuild the U.S. first. There it is. That's the last line of that tweet. And so now here's the right wing responding to him. This is from that Breitbart article. They put together some right wingers' tweets. Here's a guy named Todd Starnes, Afghanistan first. And then he says, this is a fine speech, but President Trump campaigned on getting us out of Afghanistan. Yes, he did. Oh, look who this is. Ann Coulter. It doesn't matter who you vote for. The military-industrial complex wins. I wonder who I heard say that before. I remember someone before the election trying to tell people why he was voting for Jill Stein by saying there's no way to vote against the military-industrial complex. There's no way to vote against more war if you vote for the two major parties. And guess who? Ann Coulter agrees with me. It doesn't matter who you vote for. The military-industrial complex always wins. Only difference, GOP presidents pronounce Pakistan correctly. Here's Kyle. Here's another right-winger that Breitbart got a tweet of. This sounds like every speech by an American president on Afghanistan since 2001. Exactly like it. So here's Justin Raimondo. Trump on Afghanistan, quote, my instinct was to withdraw, end quote. And then the war party got to him. From America first to America last. Didn't take long. It's a mixed bag of people who support him. It is a mixed bag. And I certainly supported his non-interventionist rhetoric before, but you know, now he's just like they said, he sounds like every other goddamn president's speech on Afghanistan since 2001. We're going to stand up while we'll stand down when they stand up. We have to make sure that we can no safe haven for terrorists. All of the whole.
as the Prime Minister of Afghanistan has promised, we are going to participate in economic development to help defray the cost of this war to us.
What do you think the president means when he says we're going to participate in economic development to help defray the cost of this war to us? Do you know what he's talking about?
I first of all appreciate she asked the question. I also appreciate she pretended to not know what it means.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just, I've never heard of this shit happening before.
You know what the hell you could possibly be talking about? You know
What kind of Rhodes Scholar is she?
What could I be talking about? So now he does this.
No, I think you're right. It sounds like we are going to be involved in extricating, releasing mineral wealth from.
We're going to be. Did you hear that? What he said? We're going to be releasing mineral wealth. I don't know if you know, but
we're giving the mineral wealth democracy.
Yes,
the mineral wealth. It needs to be free and have its own democracy. So we're gonna, extract
I didn't rob that bank. I released it. I released the money from its vault.
It's liberated money now.
Yes.
The money hated freedom, and then we taught the money
to like freedom, and now it's released.
Yep.
We gave it its free. You're free money. You're free. That's awesome. Let's listen to it again.
Extricating, releasing mineral wealth from, and there is substantial mineral wealth, though I don't know whether or not it can be taken out in an efficient way. We're going to take that out of Afghanistan. The Chinese are already there doing that, and I think that the United States is concerned that we're not getting our share. But I think that's a.
Do you hear this guy? Do you hear all the stuff? This is their military advisor. By the way, Rachel Maddow pushes back on him zero for any of this stuff he's saying. Well, we're not going to get our share. Our share of someone else's country. Our share of one of the poorest countries in the world who we've been occupying militarily for almost 20 frickin' years. Our share? What the F? The Chinese are already doing this, so we better... Do you hear these guys? This is how the American military and the American neoliberals think, that the world is ours to split up. We got to get in there with our corporations and take some of those minerals out of there. We have to release some of their wealth. But Rachel Maddow, zero pushback. She's zero pushback. She does say this.
Exactly what he means.
Under these circumstances, this is an ongoing war, obviously. We're well over year 15 in Afghanistan. This is not something that the president's planning to do as some sort of other project. He wants to do this as part of the war. Under U.S. military ethics, can the U.S. government go in with the protection of U.S. soldiers and extract the wealth of another country?
Wow, that's spoken like a true journalist whose paycheck is dependent on not being honest about what's really going on in the Middle East. Can we just go in there and think with our military? Can we do that? Do you see her? First of all, she no pushback on the stuff he said previously. Any of that stuff that's like, we better get what's ours. What's ours? Now, she can't say any of that stuff. She can't say any of it, and she's not. Let's watch what he says.
Well, we can. We've done it before. There's no reason why we can't do it again.
Boo. So you're telling, wow. There it is. Rachel Maddow asked the question. He says, yes, we've done it before. We could do it again. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing it. I'm going to play that for you one more time.
We're well over year 15 in Afghanistan. This is not something that the president's planning to do as some sort of other project. He wants to do this as part of the war. Under U.S. military ethics, can the U.S. government go in with the protection of U.S. soldiers and extract the wealth of another country?
Well, we can. We've done it before. There's no reason why we can't do it again.
And did you see Rachel go, yep. Like she has to go, whoa, right? So when I criticize Rachel Maddow, I don't just do it lightly. I don't like, she's not as good as she could be. She didn't like Bernie as much as I wanted her to. She's a fucking mouthpiece for the military-industrial complex, 100%, and that's what this is. There's no pushback.
Can the U.S. government go in with the protection of U.S. soldiers and extract the wealth of another country?
Well, we can. We've done it before. There's no reason why we can't do it again. But the real question is, what difference does that make in terms of achieving war objectives? If at the end of the day what we really want to do is to have a central government in Kabul that can actually control Afghanistan. The real problem is actually inside Pakistan, and it includes a corrupt government, no control over local areas, a poorly trained army, and so on. None of the things that the president mentioned are going to change that very much, except a commitment to stay in Afghanistan for several decades.
So I don't know if you just heard what he said. So he said a lot of stuff. Rachel Maddow, by the way, pushes back 0. Hey, is under military ethics, is it okay to go in with our military and then steal their stuff? Yes, it is. We've done it before. Do it again. There's no reason why we can't. Okay, I guess no follow-up on that. and then he goes all the way to the end. And at the end, he says, none of that, though, will help meet our war objective. The only thing that will help meet our war objective, I don't know if you heard what he said. I'll play it for you again.
Very much, except a commitment to stay in Afghanistan for several decades.
The only thing that would help our war objective is a commitment to stay in Afghanistan for several decades. This is the stuff they're putting on MSNBC. They bring on experts to come on and tell everybody it's okay if we steal theirs, if we invade illegally and take theirs. It doesn't matter. If that's what we've done it before, we do it again. There's no reason why we couldn't. Hey, by the way, China's coming. We want to get our stuff before China. He sounds like Trump. And Rachel Maddow just lets him go, says not a goddamn thing to him. And then he says the only thing that will help us reach our war objectives is if we stay there for a couple more decades. This is their military expert that they're bringing on. By the way, this guy teaches at the War College. He's a big shot Pentagon. Where they train? West Point. Yeah. So this guy needs a war hero, the whole deal. This guy's the real deal guy. And he is that's how the military thinks. The world's our pie to slice up and take it by force, whatever we want. And we should just stay there as long as we need, whatever. And Rachel Maddow doesn't go, that doesn't sound crazy to you that we should stay there for a couple more decades? That doesn't sound so endless war? Yes. And that's what they want. That's what her bosses want. Believe me, if Rachel Maddow ever says one thing that costs Comcast a nickel, they will fire her. And that's why she doesn't. And that's why she lets guys from the Pentagon come on her TV show and say stuff like this. She brings on a guy from the Pentagon, just like NBC News has always done. They bring on a military guy who's pro-war as if he's giving you some insight. And all he's giving you is war propaganda. Of course we go in and take their stuff. We've done it before. We'll do it again. Blah, blah, blah.
China's doing it. They're doing it, and we've done it before. And what do you mean ethical? I mean, we've done it. Okay, no further questions.
No further questions. So I think that's gross. I think it's this is why we go to war. This is the kind of horrible news coverage that brings us to war. And shame on MSNBC and Rachel Maddow, as always. And you wonder why people get their news from YouTube.